Now we want to welcome in Jack Pohl. He is the sports director at our sister station up in Dayton. Jack, great to see you. Welcome in.
Thank you so much for having me. Good to be in Kansas City for a second straight January.
I tell you, that Bengals bunch is a confident bunch of players. What's it been like covering them this week? Are they as confident, as boastful as they seem on social media?
Well, it's funny. I've been covering this team for 30 years, and if there's one thing about the Bengals, it's been a lack of confidence, a lack of that swagger. You had little bits of it here and there, maybe with Boomer Esiason way back in the day, but it really didn't come into fruition until Joe Burrow got to town, and it changed everything. And covering this team is a lot of fun because these are genuine leaders, genuine personalities, and guys who truly believe. Believe me, I've looked it's been a tough 30 years covering this team, and I've seen a lot of guys try and fake it. But this Bengal team, they believe everything they say, and whether or not they do it on Sunday, I don't know. But they certainly believe they're going to win. Players in the locker room, these are Bengal players saying Burrowhead Stadium instead of Arrowhead Stadium. They are a cocky bunch.
Yeah, I know. Believe me, we've been running that story here plenty in Kansas City. Joe, I'm curious, when they made the announcement that they were going to sell tickets to the AFC Championship game in Atlanta, it kind of ticked off the players a little bit. I'm wondering, do they still keep that chip on their shoulders as they head into this AFC Championship game?
Well, I think the attitude they're presenting is, so what? We'll play in the parking lot. We'll play wherever you want to go. We'll play on the sand on the beach. We don't care. We'll play it and we'll beat you. But there's no doubt it is a motivating situation for the Bengals because, they could have won that game on Monday Night Football. And by all accounts, what they did last week in Buffalo, you think, yeah, they probably would have beat the Bills on Monday Night Football at Paycor Stadium. So they should have been the number 2 seed. They should have hosted that game last week. And they were never really brought into consideration whatsoever. And they were a legitimate chance to be the 1 seed at one point. Now, that wouldn't have worked out. But in most people's minds, they should have been the 2 seed. And it just didn't work out that way. And then the total slap in the face of the coin flip to decide who gets to host the wild card game was I think just really got under their skin. This is a team that is the defending AFC champions and by all accounts beat the best team in the AFC, the Chiefs, who've been to 5 straight AFC titles, and they still find it hard to get respect.
So I'm going to lean on your 3 decades of experience covering the Bengals. As you know, Cincinnati has beaten the Chiefs 3 times in a row. In your experience, how hard is it for a team to beat the other 4 times in a row?
Well, when the Bengals the other team, it's no problem at all. They've been smashed by a lot of teams for years, over and over again. But when you're talking about 2 elite teams, the Chiefs and the Bengals, that I think we're going to get to enjoy for the next 10 years, this rivalry take me into retirement. It's very difficult. And you're asking a lot of the Bengals. But if there's one man to do it, Joe Burrow's the guy to do it. So while I think it's going to be a monumental task on Sunday here in Kansas City, I think the Bengals can do it. But yeah, it's asking a lot to go 4-0 against any team. Anybody. They can take the worst team in the league if you want, but let alone you play a team like the Kansas City Chiefs on their home field. It's going to take a flawless game from Cincinnati, but they just played a flawless game last week, so we'll see.
Okay, Jack, the line for this game has been moving back and forth. First Cincinnati, then some video came out of Patrick Mahomes practicing. He was indoors. It's not a game, but the line kind of swung back the other way. This is a really hard game to pick. Who you got?
Well, I'll tell you what, covering Joe Burrow since he came into the franchise, and like I said, knowing the history of this franchise and what it's been, even when they had a 5-year playoff stretch with Marvin Lewis and lost in the first round every year, he's a difference maker. And what makes him different isn't any stat you can throw at me, isn't any athletic ability you can throw at me, but he gives a team complete and utter confidence. So I'm taking the Bengals, not just to win this week, but also in a couple of weeks. I don't care who they play. I think the Bengals are a Super Bowl championship team. So, yeah, I got them winning. I think it'll be close, maybe another 27-24 game, but I like the Bengals on Sunday.
Well, it's, outside of our division, perhaps outside of yours, Cincinnati is really developing into the Chiefs' biggest rival. And with these 2 teams keep meeting in the playoffs, this rivalry could get very heated.
Yeah, and these are 2 great quarterbacks, and roughly the same age. Obviously, Burrow's a little younger, but again, this could be like the Brady Manning of this generation. This could be really one of the greatest. Well, that could be. It already is. This has been a fantastic rivalry, and I think we're going to see it for many, many years to come. And these are the golden years for both the Chiefs and the Bengals. So the rest of the AFC just better get used to it.
All right, Jack, thanks so much for your time. Jack Pohl joining us in Dayton, Ohio, with more on the Chiefs and the Bengals. We'll catch up with you again. Thanks a lot, Jack.
All right. We'll see you next January.
All right.